Good day, my plant foldies. This is Richie at Grow Folds, and today we'll be big box store plant shopping at the Walmart out in Prosper, Texas. As always, please make sure you are hitting the like button and subscribing to my channel for daily plant shopping videos. And you can see here, I just went ahead and went straight into the indoor section just to see if they had any restock. And here we have a Snow White waffle plant for by Costa Farms for $4.98. I love that pink variegation, that cream variegation here. I'm thinking about buying another Snow White waffle plant. The one I had just didn't do very well. I just didn't know all of the care tips for it. And that's the thing about plants, you know, as you are browsing here, like for instance, this Peperomia Golden Gate, beautiful plant. This one requires a little bit more bright and direct light, but that's the thing I like about the Costa Farms exotic angel plant. You can always start out with these starter plants here, and I would say Walmart has the most cost-effective plants in terms of exotic angels, the starter plants, besides HEB, which is another grocery store out in Texas. But you can see here a beautiful purple waffle plant, similar to the Snow White waffle plant, but it's a lot easier. And I know that crotons are not necessarily everybody's cup of tea. I love them. I just love the color of them. And this one right here is Croton Bush on Fire, and it really does look like it is on fire. I like the fact that this particular croton for $5.98 or $48, it actually has good gradation. And what I mean by that is sometimes the leaves will be red at the very top, orange in the middle of the plant, and then yellow. So it's got a really nice texture about the leaves and just the coloration. But you can see here, this is almost black. And that's the thing I like about croton plants, is they can really give you some dramatic coloration. I do like dark foliage plants. I might actually end up buying one of those just to see if I can grow them out. Whenever I am growing like croton plants, I grow them in full sun outside, and they do very well. And you can see here is another begonia rex here, or rex begonia. This one is for $5.48 by Costa Farms. I do like the look of this one. I love that pink. I love the silvery tone of rex begonias. Rex begonias can be a little bit tricky in terms of their care. You definitely don't want to water from the very top. You don't want to get the leaves wet. You don't want to get the stems wet. You want to bottom water them. And then over here is another Pilea that I am planning on getting at some point. This is the Pilea Dark Mystery for $5.48 by Costa Farms Exotic Angels. And I will commend the Prosper Walmart. They've gotten better in terms of their merchandising and then also the health of the plant. You know, a little while back, they had some plants that were left out in the cold, and a lot of those plants just ended up getting cold damage. But you can see here, very healthy looking exotic angel plants. I am in love with that Snow White waffle plant. I think I'm going to eventually get one of those. And then over here, we've got another Croton Bush on Fire. And I want to ask my plant foldies, and if you are new to my channel, welcome. I do call my viewers and subscribers plant foldies, but my question for this video is, have you ever had a plant that you have just had a lot of challenging care for it to the point where you end up killing it? Have you ended up buying that plant again and trying to grow it again? I will say there are a couple of plants that I've done that with, specifically a Hedera helix, or you know what I call a Hedera helix English ivy. I love the plant. I just have killed 14 of them in a span of 2 years. So I don't know if I should just throw the towel and just think that I can't grow an English ivy indoors, but I am starting to really think about growing another Snow White waffle plant. So plant foldies, as always, in the live premiere chats, let me know your experiences with the plant, or even in the comment section. I love reading your comments, so please keep them coming. And you can see here, we've got a ficus ginseng bonsai here. Had some yellowing leaves, so I don't know if that might be some spider mites. So that's the thing, whenever you're shopping at a big box store, you definitely have to assume that there is a higher potential of these plants having spider mites or some type of bug. It's not necessarily the growers that send it. It's just the amount of stress that the plant gets, and it's just exposed to a lot of people, and so you never know. So what I would always tell people is, if you ever buy a plant from a big box store, make sure you are spraying it down with some preventative spray when you take it home, and quarantining it from your full plant collection for at least 2 to 3 weeks. And you can see here, beautiful Philodendron Pink Princess. So I was at a Walmart the other day, and then I haven't seen Philodendron Pink Princess with this type of variegation. This one is a very good variegated Philodendron Pink Princess. This one is also pretty good as well, because when you look at the leaves, all of the leaves have a lot of pink in it. There's speckles of pink. The first one I picked up is probably the best one. If I didn't already have a lot of Philodendron Pink Princess, that would be one that I would pick out. And also right here, as I pan over, beautiful Philodendron Pink Princess. There's only one that is not nearly as variegated, and it's the one over on the far left. And you can see even here, this one is highly variegated. It's got like 3 full-on pink leaves. I would say this one definitely has some high variegation. And the thing about Philodendron Pink Princess is you want to get one that has some good genetics. Otherwise, you may end up just getting one that doesn't really produce a lot of variegation, because Philodendron Pink Princess, like, look at this beautiful variegation. It's not necessarily the amount of light you provide it. It is literally the plant's total genetics. So some Philodendron Pink Princess have better variegation. So now that this I would consider as a common philodendron, since it is in a big box store, I would be a little bit more picky. Like, here's a prime example of a Philodendron Pink Princess with low variegation. I highly doubt that this Philodendron Pink Princess will really produce the same kind of variegation as the first one that I picked up. I mean, needless to say, it's a dark foliage plant. It's a really beautiful looking plant, but you can see as compared to this one has better variegation than the one that's low variegation. So if variegation is your thing, you definitely want to look at the plant quality and the variegation. But as you can see here, not a lot of selection in terms of indoor house plants, but I'm glad that they were able to kind of merchandise these plants in a presentable manner. I do like it when big box stores are a little bit more organized. And you can see here, this is for $9.97 by Garden Expert. Again, Garden Expert is basically Walmart's name brand for plants for indoors and outdoors. These are mostly sourced by Costa Farms, and Costa Farms has been showing up everywhere. You can see here, $9.97. Again, I ended up buying this Dieffenbachia. This is a Dieffenbachia Sparkle, or what some people call Dieffenbachia Sublime. Really like that high contrast in the variegation. And you can see they've got a lot of self-watering planters by Costa Farm. These have been kind of like mixed up. Most of them are for $14.97, like this Aglaonema Red Siam right here. Love Aglaonemas. They're one of my favorite plants. Aglaonemas are easy to care for, and I say this in every video. If you haven't already, please buy yourself a Aglaonema. Dieffenbachia, on the other hand, are a little bit more challenging. Here is a Dracaena for $9.97. Again, this is the lemon lime version. This Dracaena can actually get fairly large. It can get to 3 to 4 feet tall. It is a moderate grower. It can tolerate lower light conditions. It doesn't need as much water. It's not as finicky. So I would say, again, another underrated plant that most plant collectors, or at least I don't really see a lot of people talking about Dracaenas on YouTube. I would recommend that for anybody that's starting out plants for the first time, growing them indoors. It's an easy to care for plant. And you can see here we've got a ton of sago palms. The one earlier was showing some new growth, so I found that really interesting. And then over here, as we pan over, you can see that a lot of the plants are kind of mixed around. So we've got Dracaenas, we've got a couple of trending tropicals, we've got some ZZ plants, but you can see here lots of global green pothos, Epipremnum aureum, global green pothos. Look at this one right here, really nice global green pothos. It's already trailing, and you can see that green on green variegation. With global green pothos, the variegation is actually influenced by the amount of bright indirect light that you give it. If you give it less light, it will be more green. You won't really see that full contrast. And over here, we've got a gorgeous looking Begonia maculata. I wanted one of these, but I visited my grandmother and she was able to propagate several of these. So I ended up getting a free Begonia maculata. And so that's the thing I would also recommend is if you know of a plant community, sometimes I feel like, trading cuttings or giving cuttings away or propagations is a good way to grow your plant collection. It's not always about how much money we're spending on plants. It's about making connections with others and being able to share plants, give plants for free. if I could ship out a lot of these plants that I propagate and grow to my plant foldy community, I would definitely do that. So please let me know in the comments if you ever want me to give you guys some free plants. I am working on getting that free Monstera Thai constellation giveaway on Instagram. I just have to get all of the details really sorted. I was able to talk about that in one of my videos, but basically I'm going to have a video of the actual Monstera Thai constellation that I'm going to give out for free and then put it as a reel on Instagram. But you can see here as I walk out, it is the afternoon. I just got off work, so I figured I'd be able to drive down to this Walmart and check it out. But this one is by Garden Expert, and what a stunning looking coleus plant. Now, here's the thing about coleus plants. Coleus plants are easy to grow. They've got a lot of different types of coloration, very easy to propagate. And I think that's what really inspires me to grow coleus plants. They are my current obsession. So I have all of these obsessions with plants. And the problem with me is when I have an obsession with a plant, I want to get every single variety, every single color, every single whatever. And so I have been hunting lots of different types of coleus plants. I've got some coleus plants that I'm growing from seed, and I'm basically picking up any coleus plant that I can find. You can see here, this is another beautiful looking coleus plant. These ones are for $17.97 by Garden Expert. Very nice coleus plants. And the crazy thing is you can literally snap off one of the tops of the stems from one of these plants, put it in water, and within a week you'll see roots, and then you can start it. Coleus plants are pretty vigorous plants as well. They grow pretty fast. So there's a lot of things I want to do with coleus plants. Like I want to grow a coleus plant and train it into a full-on tree, maybe even make a bonsai. And over here, I feature this plant for some reason because I don't know, for some reason I like it. That's just a variegated ajuga plant. And then you can see here, these are for $4.37. I bought one of these. I am growing it in a 6.5-inch planter, and it is already starting to grow. I am growing it in full sun because when you grow it in full sun, you can really see all of the pink variegation. And here it is for $4.37. We got our first Hydra Helix. The correct way to say it obviously is Hedera Helix, which is in English ivy. So for those that are viewing my my channel for the first time for my videos, I always talk about Hydra Helix. And that's really because a lot of my viewers and subscribers, you plant folies, really egg me on to say that you know that I'm saying it incorrectly. But for some reason, you guys want to keep counting the amount of times I say it in a video. So there you go. And then right here, we've got an alocasia right here. I believe this is an alocasia California. Not a bad price at all for this this alocasia. And I know that a lot of alocasias, the variegated forms, are becoming the popular plant. But let's not forget the green versions of plants. Those are the most healthy and probably the most stable versions that you can get on a plant. They're easier to take care of for sure. This one is by Island Bloom, Costa Farms for $5.34. That is a white bird of paradise. White bird of paradise can grow extremely large. They do require a lot, and when I say a lot of light, pretty much full sun in some cases for them to really bloom. And in here it is, another $5.84 cordyline Hawaiian tea plant. Love these. And you know what's interesting is Walmarts have received these like a month and a half ago, and you can see that some of them haven't sold through, and you can see that they've actually put on a lot of new growth. This one particularly I really like because look at that pink variegation, and I like that there's like that pink margin or that pink border around the leaves. I love cordyline tea plants because of that coloration. They can get fairly large, and the best way to grow them is literally outdoors. If you can grow them in full sun, you will get the best coloration from it. And now trying to grow a cordyline plant indoors is a little bit more challenging just because they are a little bit more susceptible to spider mites. But as you can see, this is a smaller outdoor section for Walmart. So some Walmarts have bigger outdoor sections than others. This particular Walmart has a smaller one, but it doesn't mean that they don't have quality plants. They still have some nice looking plants. And I do like the fact that Better Homes and Gardens has really stepped up its game in terms of providing different types of container plants and high quality plants. And then over here, we are seeing perennials. And for those that don't know what a perennial it is, it's basically a plant you can grow in your landscape that can grow back year after year. These are some Callia lily plants by Garden Experts. So Callia lilies right here, and this one isn't a bad price at all. You can see that they come in different colors for their blooms. I like the white Callia lilies. I think they're cute, and I also like their leaves. And you can see here again, we've got another white bird of paradise for $5.84. Not a bad starter plant actually. And if you repot that in a bigger container, it can put on a lot of growth. And here is for $5.84 an alocasia, and you can see how healthy the leaves, the roots are. They're already coming out of the drainage holes. I ended up buying one of these actually when I was out in North Houston in a small town called Huntsville a couple weeks back. I was able to repot it in a bigger pot, and it's starting to push out some new leaves. So I have an appreciation for alocasias. They are a bit more of a finicky plant. I will say growing an alocasia outdoors in a shaded area is a lot easier than growing them indoors. For some reason, they don't really get spider mites. They put on more growth. And over here, they've got for $29.74 an oleander tree form. That's a nice plant. That is a very toxic plant. So you just have to be careful with oleander. It is a poisonous plant. So definitely keep that away from your furry babies and just kids in general, because it's a very toxic plant. And over here, we've got some more cordyline Hawaiian tea plants for $5.84. This one has a lot of pink on it. I love this a lot. And what's really cool about cordyline plants is as they mature, they get larger and taller. They can get a little bit leggy, but the bottom part of the cordyline plant becomes more woody. You can propagate cordyline plants and keep them from getting leggy by just cutting the tops off and either propagating them in water or just putting them in straight soil. That's one way to keep them a little bit more compact. But this particular cordyline plant I really like. I just like that maroon and hot pink variegation. And since I live out in North Dallas, that's where I'm based at. One thing I will say is crepe myrtles can be seen everywhere. These ones are for $24.94. These are the dark foliage ones, so these ones are a little bit of a newer hybrid. They've been, existing for a couple of years now at big box stores, but places like McKinney, Texas, which is known as the crepe myrtle capital of the world, you will see many crepe myrtles, as well as like Frisco and just places in North Dallas. We just grow a lot of crepe myrtles for some reason. They're very heat tolerant and just very easy to grow, beautiful blooms. One plant that I struggle with, but I still want to grow is azalea. So you can see there were some Encore azaleas there. And then as you pan over here, we can see that there's plenty of ground cover. This one is an interesting one. This is called a red apple, and this one's for $4.37. So I don't know a lot about this plant, but it's one that I see often at Walmart, and you can see here tons of Hydra helix. This English ivy is for $4.37. And then, for English ivy, if you're going to grow them, they definitely prefer to be in a shaded condition. Just know that if you are going to grow English ivy and you let them grow on like a wooden wall on a house, be careful with that because they can really damage some of the wall. Here we have another Encore azalea. So they got tons of Encore azaleas. I actually picked up some from Home Depot 2 days ago. They were running a sale where they were for $11.98. So that's a really good thing. What I like about Encore azaleas is that they rebloom 3 times a year. So they'll bloom in the spring, summer, and fall versus just a typical azalea that will only bloom really in the spring. So you can see Walmart has some other shrubs here. This one's for $22.98. I like the variegated form of that particular one, but as I pan over, even though this Walmart is small, I do love featuring just the different varieties of Walmarts, like how large they get and just the amount of plants that they have available here. And you can see there is a stranded Philodendron Pink Princess. Somebody needs to rescue this because it is not looking too good. And then we've got a Chinese fringe flower bush. That's really cute as well. Love that purple foliage. And right over here, we've got some more plants, more shrubs. We've got an azalea right here. Now this one isn't an Encore azalea, but I do like the fact that these blooms are a nice red tone. fiery. They look like they're just lit up on fire, especially with the late afternoon sun. And that's the thing about plants outdoors. I've been featuring a lot of plants outdoors just because I also like to garden outdoors. I'm working on my landscape this weekend, so hopefully I can start filming some of my video of my backyard. Right now it's a little embarrassing. There's a lot of like weeds and things that I need to get rid of before I put it on YouTube. I'm already remaining faceless just because I'm a little bit shy, but in terms of my house and just my outdoor landscape, I eventually want to feature that as well. So plant folies, let me know if you are interested in seeing my personal plant collection. I've shown shades of some of my outdoor garden. I definitely want to do a coleus plant haul and collection tour, so stay tuned for that. But you can see here more plants. All of these plants are by either Better Homes and Gardens or Garden Expert. Lots of flowering plants. Petunias specifically is one that I've been seeing a lot in outdoor, sections at big box stores. And right here we've got a pentas flowering plant. This one is for $8.78 by Better Homes and Gardens. Better Homes and Gardens has some really nice planters as well. They've got a really good modern contemporary planter series, and they're priced very well. And then you can see here we've got some more pentas, really like the pink blooms, and then these beautiful looking petunias. And then we've got some New Guinea impatiens right here. I have been learning some more about impatiens. So definitely impatiens are considered a plant or a flowering plant that needs to be more in the shade, but they also have what they call sun patiens, which can take full sun. And actually the sun patiens are hybridized to where they actually have like variegated leaves. I think they're super cool. And then over here, and I just love, can we just talk about how beautiful all of these plants look with all of the light, that afternoon light just illuminating these blooms. Several to look at. We've got some more impatiens right here, and then we've got some lantana for $8.78 by Garden Expert, by Better Homes and Garden. Love lantana. I was able to get a couple of lantana planted in my landscape. I'm hoping that they will get very bushy and produce a lot of these beautiful flowers. Lantana work well for my growing zone because in the summer we get like 100+ degree weather, and these are very heat tolerant, drought tolerant, and very vigorous in the growth. So there's a lot of factors that make me want to grow lantana. Some people say that they can be a little bit invasive, but in Texas I think they do just fine. But I just love looking at all of these plants. So I know you plant folies, especially my regulars. I'm sure you hear me talk about the same plants pretty much every day, but oftentimes I utilize these plant shopping videos as a way to connect people, to connect our community, to be able to chat. So if you're watching my video for the first time live, please join the live premiere chats. We've seen a lot of new faces hopping on. Ask me any question, leave some comments, make some connections with other plant foldies. Add me on Instagram, actually, @growfolds, and you can send me a direct message. I respond to everybody. That is the fastest way to get in contact with me. But yes, just the fact that I've been able to just go to these different Walmarts and show you guys all of these gorgeous outdoor and indoor plants is amazing. Like right here, this is an Asiatic lily. I have seen several different colors of Asiatic lilies. I like this one as well because of that dark orange, and then just the texture on the blooms is beautiful. And then as I walk around here, you can see that Walmart is actually featuring some banana plants. So this is a red banana plant. Really nice looking red banana plant. I actually saw somebody put that in their shopping cart. This would need to take full sun, so this would be a little bit more challenging to grow indoors, but this is for $34.74, a red banana plant. They need full sun basically to really thrive. So if you're going to grow them indoors, they definitely need to get a lot of sun. But you can see that there's like red texture on it. I really like that a lot. And it is a large plant for $34.74. That's not bad at all. And then I'm going to show you some more beautiful Asiatic lilies. I actually like this one particularly because the red is just very bright, vibrant. And this one is for $9.74. So in terms of saving money at a big box store, you definitely want to consider buying at Walmart. Walmart has a lot of very inexpensive outdoor plants as compared to maybe Home Depot or Lowe's. But don't get me wrong, do your plant shopping, and that's the reason why I like to compare and contrast different plant pricings. And especially if you are a Dallas Fort Worth native or somebody that lives in this area, I would highly encourage you to subscribe to my channel. Make sure you're hitting the notification bell, because you might be subscribed to my channel, but in order for you to make those live premiere chats, I try to schedule them till at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time, but sometimes I don't get it. But if you have the notification bell on, you will be notified immediately when it starts. So just FYI for anybody that really wants to join those chats. As you can see here, these are the flowers of the hour, and that is a petunia. This one is by Garden Expert for $1.97. I love all the beautiful flowers here. They can make good flower beds as well as container plants. You can see here, this one is for $1.97. Some wax begonias, beautiful wax begonias. That's the bronze leaf form. Love that darker form here. And then you can see that we've got several petunias. It's really interesting the amount of hybrids of petunias, the amount of colorations that we have with petunias, and they're really not a very expensive flower. They do like full sun, so you're gonna need to give them a lot of full sun. But look at this right here. These are annuals though, so you'll have to grow them year after year. It's very challenging to even try to consider overwintering them. But you can see here, what a gorgeous looking petunia. I really like the candy cane striping that these particular ones have. It would be really interesting to meet somebody who hybridizes petunias, because year after year I just typically see more color from these petunias. But I also want to show you guys the succulents. I have been a fan of the succulents, particularly at Walmart. You can see right here, this is a Crusala obliqua tricolor, and I love the fact that it has pink variegation. This one seems to be sun stress, which means it has better variegation. It just received a lot of light to where there's a lot of pinks showing up. And what else do we have here? We've got another Crusala right here, or jade plant. This one is another interesting looking one here. Or not, actually, this is a Aeonium kiwi. This one doesn't have nearly as much pink variegation as Aeonium kiwi, but those are some of my favorite succulents. I think I will collect and get one of these. This is another jade, or a Crusala lemon and lime. Look at that variegation as well. It's got that yellow variegation and that neon green variegation here. Beautiful plant, and jade plants are one of my favorite succulents. So I may end up buying some succulents like jades, just because they remind me of my childhood. My grandmother, who is basically the source of my plant addiction, my plant interest. She taught me a lot about plants. She grew a lot of jade plants, and they're very easy to propagate. You can actually propagate jade plants from the leaf and just sticking it on top of the soil, or cuttings. And you can see here is another jade plant. So for my plant foldies, specifically my plant foldy viewer, Kathy from Canada, I know you asked to see a lot more jade plants, so I have been looking for those. So if you are a regular or somebody who watches my videos, please leave in the comments if you want to see a specific type of plant or see more of a specific plant. I'm really trying to diversify the type of content I have in terms of plants. I want to be able to feature indoor aroids, philodendron, the typical plant collection plants, but I also want to talk about herbs. I want to talk about vegetable plants, flowering plants, Japanese maples, succulents. I really just want to grow the community to where it eventually just becomes a place where people can enjoy plants in general. If you love plants and plants bring you happiness like they do for me, you definitely want to be subscribed to my channel. I try my best to really get you guys consistency in having a plant video daily. It is a little bit challenging, but I am loving the process. As you can see, there's just several different types of succulents. Like, look at how beautiful this succulent is. Look at that pink outline. This is by Element Plants. Let's see what the plant ID is. I'm gonna assume this is an Echeveria. Yep, it's an Echeveria Afterglow. It does have a beautiful afterglow. Look at that. It's got like a metallic shine. It's got pink as well. And you already know I love pink plants. Plant Foldies, leave in the comments if you're also a fan of pink plants. I love pink variegation, and I just like pink plants in general. And then you can see here is another Proven Winners hybrid. This one is another ground covered. You can see here, this is a Supertunia, or not a Supertunia, that's another flowering plant here. I thought it was an actual like lantana, and you can see right here by Garden Expert. We've got some impatiens right here for $6.97. Now these impatiens definitely need to be put in shade. These are not sun patients, so you definitely want to make sure that you put those in shade. And you can see here as I pan over, it's a really good selection of plants for the amount of space that they have. This isn't one of the bigger Walmarts, but I will say you can still get all of the plants that you would typically see at Walmart. I am just really happy to see more coleus plants here. I already have this particular coleus. This one has some beautiful pink leaves, and I have been doing a lot of research, and I've been seeing even on YouTube that there is a coleus following where people are growing them as like topiary trees as well as bonsai. So we're gonna see what I can do with these plants, and I did want to walk inside and show you the bigger house plants here at this Walmart in Prosper, Texas. You can see this is a Ficus lyrata for $24.48. Large foliage plants here, and then we've got some Monstera deliciosas. Love the look at the Monstera deliciosa, even just the green form. I know there's so many variegated versions of Monstera Thai constellations now, even Monsteras in general. I unfortunately haven't been able to find a Monstera Thai constellation at Walmart. I know that Costa Farms has been releasing them. I know in Rockwall, Texas, which is about 30 to 40 minutes away from where I'm based at, has them. I just haven't had a chance to like go over there and, you know, film. But you can see here as I'm about to leave this Walmart, these beautiful oleander blooms. These are in the tree form, and I love oleander, just the look of it. Now just remember that it is a very toxic plant, so just be careful with that. This one right here is another white bird of paradise, and then some more containers, mixed containers by Better Homes and Gardens, where they have the cordyline Hawaiian tea plant as the main feature. I like that a lot. And you know, Walmart has these particular containers, mixed containers here. Now I've never seen this one. This one has a Ficus elastica burgundy mixed with a bunch of mandevilla flowers. And then I also wanted to go to the Prosper Marketplace Kroger, just because I heard from a birdie that there might be some clearance plants here, particularly some cheap $10 Philodendron Pink Princess, as well as some other plants that have been reduced in price. So we're gonna check it out. I do recommend going to grocery stores to go plant shopping, just because I have found, especially at Kroger, that you can find some really cost-effective prices for plants. You can definitely save some money on the pricing on plants because they sell them for a little bit cheaper. Like for instance, these $24.99 are these gardenias. I love gardenias. I love the smell of gardenias. I just haven't been able to grow them in my landscape because I don't really have a lot of shade. They prefer shade more so than being put in full sun. They will not do well. Speaking of full sun though, they have a bunch of these dwarf sunflowers, which I find adorable. Love me some sunflowers. Last year I was able to grow sunflower from seed, and they grew humongous, and they were absolutely stunning. But you can see here lots of dwarf container sunflowers, really nice looking ones. And you know, sunflowers, they just have that bright yellow bloom that just brings people joy. You know, you talk about the color yellow. I would say the color yellow is the color of joy for sure. And then we've got some more blooming plants right over here. I like the bell, the coral bell shape on it. And then we've also got some geraniums here. Beautiful looking leaves on those geraniums. You can see that there is a subtle gradation of pink, or not pink, but purple in there. And then you can see that they've got some dwarf sunflowers, and look at just the close-up of these geranium leaves. Really like that pattern on it as well. And welcome to your Prosper Kroger for sure. So I remember going to this Prosper Kroger where all of the plants were extremely full. Again, I love going to Kroger's. I go to Kroger maybe every other day searching for different types of plants. So somebody told me in the comments that the next release of tropical rare plants was going to be Philodendron Florida Ghost. So we'll see about that. And as you can see, when we walk into a Kroger, all of the plants are always going to be in the floral section. So we have some of these kalanchoe here. I would say of all of the succulents that I see on a daily basis, I see this particular kalanchoe everywhere. And you know, this blooming kalanchoe, I'm just curious to see how easy is it to propagate, because for some reason they just have them readily available anywhere. And you can see there's just a lot of blooming flowering plants here. I don't know what this particular plant is here. I would assume that this might be some type of chrysanthemum. What a gorgeous looking plant as well. And all of these plants start at $9.99. So you can see that you can get a beautiful plant. So instead of getting somebody cut flowers that will die, why not bring them a potted up flowering plant like some tulips, or my favorite, and I'm going to show you this in a minute. Every time I go to Kroger, you know I'm going to show you this, but you can see that there's just a lot of flowering plants here. You can see down here, we've got some beautiful azalea simsii, or oh wow, it's actually reduced to for $6.30, but these are indoor azaleas. This one's a mixed planter of just red ones and pink ones. What a gorgeous setup. Normally this is $9.99 in a 4-inch starter planter, but we've got some reduced pricing today, $6.30. Now I'm not quite ready to buy another azalea. I just feel like I don't have the time to actually water them. From my previous videos, I will talk to you guys about, you know, these indoor azaleas. In order to grow indoor azaleas, you need to make sure that these azaleas are grown indoors in a temperature that is between 70 to 75 degrees. They like cooler temperatures. And the most important thing is you need to make sure that you never let an azalea, and especially an indoor azaleas, pot dry out completely, because the roots are very fine and the plant will actually get very unhealthy very quickly if you just let the soil dry out. Unfortunately for me, I don't do very well in growing plants that require a lot of water, because I consider myself an underwaterer, which is basically someone who doesn't necessarily water their plants as often as they need to. There are also what you call overwaterers, so plant people who overwater their plants when they're not necessarily needing to water. So I'm on the opposite side of that spectrum. And for an indoor azalea like this, or azalea simsii, you have to definitely make sure that you are watering them and keeping their soil moist here. But you can see that these are on sale, and this is actually a really nice, it's a really nice looking azalea. A lot of times Kroger will you know, reduce the pricing on azaleas because the blooms have already passed. But these actual indoor azaleas will actually rebloom multiple times as well. It's not like a one-time thing. So it's kind of similar to an Encore azalea. That one was only for $9, so that's not a bad price at all. So when you start to see plants start to get reduced or clearanced out at a Kroger, typically you'll see multiple plants. So I'm really excited to see what kind of other plants I can find where they can be clearanced out. But you can see here, what a gorgeous looking Bromeliad by Costa Farms. Now this one is for $14.99. I do like the coloration on this Bromeliad. Look at that deep burgundy look. I am in the hunt for a Bromeliad, so if the price is right, I may end up buying a Bromeliad today. I don't know a lot about Bromeliad, so plant folies or anybody that's watching this video, will you please leave in the comments if you know specific care tips about Bromeliads. I find them fascinating because they have some really good coloration in different types of varieties. Like look at this one for $14.99. What a gorgeous looking Bromeliad. It looks like somebody just like splattered some red on it. It doesn't even look like a real plant, but it's definitely a real plant, and it's one that I've actually seen a couple of Bromeliad collectors even on YouTube. But again, whenever you go plant shopping, I like to find the best pricing for plants. I'm all about trying to help our plant folding community find cost-effective plants. You know, it's all about saving money. As much as we all want to like spend money on plants, if we can find them for a cheaper price, why not, right? And I've done so many plant shopping videos. I mean, every day I'm in a big box store, a grocery store, filming for our community. And I will say I spent a little bit too much money for my plant budget. I'm not going to beat myself over it, because like if I was going to impulse buy today, I would definitely buy those indoor azaleas for $8. That's not a bad price at all. And look at this, $3.50 for this kalanchoe as well. This is not a bad price. Like plant foldies, would you buy this flowering kalanchoe for $3.50? That's so cool. And I just wish more Krogers would actually reduce their prices. I know that this one particularly does. And the reason why they reduce their prices is grocery stores treat their plants like produce. They definitely want to have them be as fresh and as healthy as possible. And so that's why they want to reduce it, just so they can sell through some of these plants that may not be as healthy looking and fresh. But you can see here, $2.45. It went from $6.99 to $2.45. That is awesome for this Bromeliad. Like I might buy this Bromeliad. Look at that pink, and that striping is really nice. $2.45. Not a bad price at all. And then here's another Bromeliad right here. Now, if you're watching this video or even in the live premiere chat, would you buy this this Bromeliad right here for $2.45? I'm thinking I'm gonna definitely get my first Bromeliad today, because if these are all on clearance for $2.45, I'm gonna buy it. And I'm thinking I might want to buy this one or this type of Bromeliad. I like the subtlety on this. I kind of wish that there was one with the bright red or bright pink that we typically see, that I always say in my other videos, it looks like somebody spray painted it. But $2.45, I think I'm gonna buy this one. This one is a little bit more full. There's less leaf damage. But we'll see. Well, we're going to see what I end up with. But needless to say, between the two that I picked up, one of these Bromeliads is going to come home with me, just because what a good price. And it looks like all of these Bromeliads are on sale for $2.45. So, you know, sometimes it's not about finding that rare plant. It's sometimes finding the right price for a plant. Like if you can find a really good deal for a plant, I would definitely impulse buy. Like I was not planning on buying a Bromeliad today, but for $2.45, like this one's a beautiful looking Bromeliad. I am curious to see, plant foldies, what you think about these Bromeliads. Which one would you buy, or would you even buy it? Because that's a really good deal. Now, I wish they would actually reduce these Philodendron orchids. You know, I was able to find some variegated Philodendron orchids not too long ago. I was glad that I actually bought it, because the first time I saw it, I said I would buy it next time. And typically when you find a variegated plant or some plant that you like, saying next time will actually not be there. Like when you come back, it's like, oh, you said next time, but then the plant isn't there when you come back for it to buy next time. So was really lucky to get that variegated Philodendron orchid, because as of now, I have not seen any more Philodendron orchids that are variegated. I am in the hunt for that, because I want to do a plant trade with plants with Pete. He wanted a variegated Philodendron orchid. So Pete, if you're watching my video, trust and believe I am looking for one, because I want that Philodendron Gabby, Hederaceum Gabby that you showed me. It was amazing. And you can see here, gorgeous looking Philodendron orchids. I like to just look at them. I don't necessarily feel the need to buy several orchids, just because their blooms don't always last. You know, so typically their blooms will last for about a month, maybe a month and a half, or 2 months if you're lucky. Then it takes a while for the actual orchid to grow those blooms again. So it doesn't really interest me. The only reason why I bought the variegated Philodendron orchid is because when the blooms disappear, I at least have that leaf interest. And then this is another beautiful Hoya. Now, some people didn't really like me naming this Hoya, so please leave in the comments what this Hoya could be called, because I don't want to be all controversial. I was literally reading the plant ID for it, so if you know that plant ID, let me know what the other alternatives, but that one is for $13.99. It's a beautiful Hoya. I actually want to buy it. And here is another Peperomia obtusifolia marble. Beautiful looking variegated peperomia as well. That one's for $9.99. And all of the plants I'm picking up are by Mason Farms, which is a nursery out in New Mexico. And you can't go to Kroger and not see this green Hydra Helix. This one is for $9.99. This one is just a green English ivy. I am actually tempted. Surprise, surprise, right? Like, I already killed an English ivy. Like, this is another Hydra Helix. And this is the specific English ivy I ended up killing because I underwatered it. I literally didn't water it for 2 weeks, and that just didn't do very well for that English ivy. But again, I am now interested. It's like I am being compelled to buy a green English ivy because they're just beautiful. And then right over here, we've got an Epipremnum aureum golden pothos. This one isn't a 4.5-inch planter for I wish it was $4.99. It's for $9.99. And then you can see here, lots of foliage plants. So Kroger actually offers Costa Farms trending tropical plants, and it is the cheapest, most cost-effective. You will save money buying a trending tropical from Kroger because the price is $16.99 as compared to Lowe's and Home Depot or even Walmart, which are typically $19.84. So if you're going to look for a trending tropical plant, check out Kroger. And that's the reason why I go to Kroger pretty much daily, because I've been able to find some really cool trending tropical plants like a Dieffenbachia Cool Beauty, which is basically a variegated Dieffenbachia, and that was amazing. And so I am always on the lookout for, trending tropical plants. There are some trending tropical plants I want to buy, but I want to get them for like a better price, which is $16.99. And you can see the plants I pulled up. This one is a Ficus elastica burgundy, and this one is in a 6-inch planter for $19.99. I do think that is a little bit pricey, but that is a beautiful and healthy looking plant. I will hand it to Kroger. Most Kroger plants are always healthy and are merchandised well. Like right here is an Alocasia silver dragon for $16.99. Costa Farms trending tropical really like the look of this Alocasia. My silver dragon isn't necessarily doing as well, but it's not dead as either. Again, it is one of those plants that these Alocasias are just a little bit more finicky. So now that everybody's getting into these variegated Alocasias, I'm just curious to see if they're even more finicky than their green counterparts. And over here is a beautiful Dieffenbachia. I don't really know the Dieffenbachia plant ID. I would assume this might be considered the Dieffenbachia sublime or even the Dieffenbachia sparkle. Let me know in the comments if you know the plant ID. Sometimes Dieffenbachia are a little bit harder to plant ID, but you can see here lots of plants. Another favorite plant of mine, especially one that I like to look at, or just plant window shop. This is a China doll for $19.99. Look at that shiny foliage. And when you touch the China doll leaves, they're just very soft. They remind me of like parsley almost. And one thing I discovered with that plant is it definitely doesn't need to be underwatered. It needs to be its soil needs to remain moist. And you can see here Hydra Helix, another Hydra Helix. Oh my gosh, this one is actually gorgeous too because it's got some new leaf growing. And you can see that they've also got Dracaena lemon lime here for $19.99. I think that is a little bit more expensive though, so I would hold off from that. You can go to Walmart and buy the same plant for $9.97 versus $19.99. So you'll save like 50% off if you just go to Walmart. And you can see here 6-inch planter neon pothos or Epipremnum aureum neon. That is for $9.99. That is not a bad price at all. And you can see here some more Hydra Helix. Gotta love the Hedera Helix English ivy. They've got a lot actually at this particular Kroger. They have had a lot of English ivy. So I'm curious to see how Kroger keeps their English ivy from getting spider mites, because there's typically a lot of them and they always look healthy unless they just cycle them out. But you can see as I pan over here, even though there's not a lot of square footage of plants, Kroger typically has a lot of essential plants or plants that you would have in your collection, as well as plants like this. This is a snow white waffle plant for $6.99 in a pretty cool looking planter. This is by Costa Farms, Trending Tropicals again. Really like that a lot. And then we've got some spider plants right here. Live Trends doesn't have any plants available right now at this Kroger, but this one's for $13.99. This is a spider plant. Really nice looking spider plant. It doesn't have any browning on the tips, so that's always a plus. I always find that spider plants aren't always perfect when you find them at big box stores, so it's really nice to see them at a grocery store here. And you can see here Epipremnum aureum golden pothos right next to an Epipremnum aureum neon pothos. All of these pothos plants are for $9.99. And I will say, if you are going to be growing plants for the first time indoors, buy yourself a golden pothos or a neon pothos or a pothos plant. I like to give you guys those types of recommendations because it makes it easier to transition into a little bit more challenging plants like alocasias or even calatheas. But you can see here some palm. I've said this before in my previous videos. I'm not necessarily a fan of palms. I'm not really interested in them because of the lighting conditions that they require. And right here, we've got a ponytail palm right here. I didn't realize that ponytail palm wasn't necessarily a palm. It's considered to be a succulent. So I always find that interesting that certain plants are labeled a certain way. And you can see here as we spin around, we've got large Spathiphyllum or peace lilies and just more plants to look at. Eventually, I'm going to buy a Peperomia obtusifolia marble from Kroger just because they have some really good quality peperomias here for $9.99. And then this is really cool. This one is for $13.99. This is a Syngonium neon pink. Very pink as well. I love syngoniums and I love pink plants, so this kind of like mixes up with what I like. And this one is for $13.99 as well. I feel like I could find cheaper syngonium though, but it's a beautiful looking plant, needless to say. And then you can see right here we've got another Crusala or a jade plant for $13.99. Just a typical green jade plant, but you know, jade plants supposedly bring you good luck, so I definitely want to start collecting them. There are a lot of really cool succulents I'd love to collect. After going to PlantCon 2024, I saw some really cool succulents. I can see why people get into them as much as I get into Hydra Helix. Here is another Hedera Helix Gold Baby for $9.99, and right next to it is another Hydra Helix. I don't know why you guys don't get tired of me talking, pronouncing Hedera Helix that way, but I do have an announcement, and that is I will eventually make some Hydra Helix t-shirts available for our plant foldies. And then right here is a Syngonium. I don't know what type of Syngonium this is, but what I do know is it's another cheaper hanging basket you can buy. This is by Urban Jungle, $12.99 as compared to like $20.84 by Costa Farms. So like Urban Jungle, if you can find them at a grocery store, I think that's typically where they source them out. You can get some good hanging baskets. I recently bought a Epipremnum pinnatum Cebu Blue Pothos hanging basket for $12.99. Even though I already have another hanging basket of Cebu Blue Pothos, I just couldn't not pick up that deal just because it was a really good price. And then you can see right here we've got some type of hanging basket of fern. This one is by Costa Farms for $19.99. I could see why it is $19.99 though, just because there is like that ceramic planter. It is a gorgeous looking plant, however I just wouldn't spend $19.99 on it. And you can see right here another favorite of mine. This is a Philodendron Hederaceum Lemon Lime. Love that neon yellow look to it, love those plants. So on different spectrums, I like dark foliage plants, and I also like yellow neon plants. This one is one of my favorites. I have one hanging basket that I found at Walmart by Costa Farms, and it is growing in my chimney, just the mantle of my chimney. So I think that's really cool. It gets enough light, and you have to make sure that you're giving the philodendron hederaceum lemon lime enough light for it to stay yellow. And you can see here we've got some trade scanthias right here. It's another plant for $19.99. I will say honestly, I wouldn't spend $19.99 on this size of a trade scanthia. I feel like you can find more like larger hanging baskets of trade scanthia somewhere else for a better price. And you can see here one of my favorite pothos as well, or Epipremnum aureum Enjoy, and I really like that because look at that stark variegation, very high contrast, gorgeous looking pothos. I will say this pothos is one of the slowest growing pothos. It's not as vigorous as say a golden pothos, a neon pothos, or even a marble queen. I've noticed that Enjoy pothos, or pothos that are mutations from it, like global green pothos and even lemon or meringue pothos, are slower growers. And then you can see right there in the background, we've got some Ficus elastica burgundy right next to a Raven ZZ. So you can see that there is the potential to have like all of these black plants or dark foliage plants. Definitely would want to do maybe a Gothic plant collection. That would be kind of cool. But you can see here, gorgeous looking Ficus elastica burgundy. That one is for $19.99. And then you can see here another Raven ZZ, Trending Tropicals Costa Farms. That one is for $16.99 in a self-watering planters. And can I say that self-watering planters are amazing? They have worked out for me because then I don't have to guess when I'm going to water a plant. All I have to do is just look whether the reservoir has like completely dried out. Now, I can't pronounce this particular Trending Tropical, but this is a new one that I have never really come encounter with. And that is the reason why I say you should definitely check out Lowe's, Lowe's as well, but also Kroger, because Kroger, if you have Kroger grocery stores where you're from, definitely check them out. And I'm actually curious to see if your Krogers in different parts of the country are similar to the ones out in North Dallas, because I feel like they always are stocked with really good plants. That's why I always do plant shopping videos, whether it's the same Peperomia obtusifolia or like Hydra helix. I will still go to Kroger because number one, I can find plants like this. This hanging basket of fern is only for $12.99, and look at how much plant you get. And then look at how shiny the foliage is on this particular fern. That's really nice. So I don't know why Urban Jungle doesn't have like plants like that they actually source out to Walmart as hanging baskets, because it's only $12.99. That is a really good price. I think you can save money that way. And I'm all about trying to show people how to save money on buying plants. That's another thing that I want to get, delve further into my plant content. But you can see here lots of gorgeous looking plants. We've got some Dracaenas, we've got some Trending Tropicals, we've got some jade plants, and then we've got some Hoya. It seems that every time I go to Kroger, there is a specific Hoya that I will run into. And here are some more of these reduced plants. And yes, you are looking at these Philodendron Pink Princess here. These are all reduced or on clearance, I believe, for $10.50. These were originally $29.99, which I thought was a little much for the size of this Philodendron Pink Princess. These are actually Philodendron Pink Princess Marble or Galaxy, so they're supposed to have higher variegation, but it looks like the ones that are left don't really have the best variegation. Like this one has okay variegation. There's one pink leaf right there, but for $10.50, if you are interested in a small Philodendron Pink Princess and you don't want to spend like $24.97 for the Growers Bench ones at Walmart, you can go to this Kroger. So I'm surprised that they still have some of these plants available. I thought that the Thai Constellations would be the next one to go clearance, but clearly people bought the Thai Constellations for $29.99. The only sad part is I've seen a lot of people posting on Facebook, even eBay, reselling those plants. I really think if, especially with the Monstera Thai Constellations, as they get more available from big box stores, I think people should be able to get a hold of it for that price rather than to have somebody like go in there and buy all of it and resell it for, you know, prices that were, I would say, expensive like 2 to 3 years ago. But you can see here, I've been just showing you a couple of these Philodendron Pink Princess. $10.50 is what you would pay for it. So my plant folies, let me know in the comments if you would actually buy a Philodendron Pink Princess for $10.50. These are actually still fairly healthy. I don't see anything that is alarming in terms of why they reduced the plant pricing. And you can see here, now this one is another hanging basket for $9.40 as compared to $19.99. So that's not a bad price at all. I will frequent this particular Kroger because this Kroger, for some reason in Prosper, does reduce its prices. I love finding reduced plants. I mean, I'm all about saving clearance plants. You know, that usually when you go to like Lowe's or Walmart, when they reduce the plant, it's literally a cry for help, 911. They need to be rescued. But these reduce plant pricing at Kroger, I wouldn't say a lot of these are like 911 please rescue me plants. These plants just might need a little bit of water. But Philodendron Pink Princess, what do you guys think? This is Richie at Grow Folds. I'll catch you on the next one. Bye.